All right, what's up, YouTubers? Patrick Trujillo here. I have a very special guest today, which I'm very excited to talk to and kind of share her story with you guys, and well, her to share her story with you guys. Her name is Ashley Ann Pereira. Saying that right? Right? Okay,
Yes.
awesome. She kind of, well, I guess we kind of stumbled upon each other, our Instagram accounts, and she actually ended up reaching out to me, which is pretty awesome because I've been looking to find other people like-minded and similar in situations like this. And when I started looking up what she's been doing, she's already released a book at 24 years old, which was awesome. I always thought a book was something you did like later down your life in the 50s or whatever. But just to see her passion and being able to do that and then take that and now develop it into something which I'll let her explain a little bit more about that. I don't want to steal her thunder. But it was really awesome that she was able to find me and reach out to me, and we were able to connect. And I'm glad to bring her story and share it here with you guys. So I kind of want to start this out in a weird way. You talk about how back in college you started with a network marketing company, which is funny because I find a lot of like entrepreneurs either currently or have at one point been involved in network marketing. And there's obviously a lot of bad publicity and stuff that goes on with that. I don't want to talk about whether it's good or not, anything like that. I just kind of want to talk about I think, a certain mindset and what network marketing has kind of inadvertently led people to in a way, which is kind of what it's done for me. And it seems like that's what's happened to you. So can you just talk a little bit about maybe the mindset behind network marketing?
So for me, network marketing, there definitely is good and bad, but I really like to focus on what I got from it. And for me, it was a whole world of different people in a different mindset. So for me, I guess the biggest thing that I took from network marketing was the people that I surrounded myself with. I was surrounded by people who, of all ages, were just on this different wavelength and different frequency of, tapping into their potential. That's really I guess the best way that I can describe it is just wanting a group of people wanting more.
Yes.
And I love that. And it ended up coming in and I was open to receiving it. And so it was those people who became my mentors. And then alongside that, it was the personal development. I didn't know what personal development was. I didn't know about this self-help category. And because I started reading books and because I just started attending different events, I was so open and my world just changed. That's really the best way I can describe it, as cliche as that sounds. The books really spoke to me because I think, funny enough, I spent so much time being unhappy and I was ready. I was ready to change, and that's why I guess it stuck with me.
Yeah, I think you do. You have to kind of be emotionally prepared. You have to have the right fertile soil in order for those seeds to actually stick and and grow, right? And you actually recommended a book to me called The Four Agreements, which I just started checking out today when I was at the gym, and it's awesome so far. I haven't finished it, but there was something that stuck with me right away, and he talks about how you might have been physically, emotionally, mentally abused by other people in your life, but regardless, you yourself are actually the biggest abuser of yourself. And that is a lesson that I've really been trying to implement in my life, and that I've kind of learned the hard way. I know I struggled a lot with just being very guilty for things that I've done in the past, or things I haven't done that I should have, stuff like that. And I also see, you kind of talk a little bit about that too, I guess, growing up with your body image and stuff. Can you maybe just describe that a little bit more?
Yeah. So the best way that I describe that is self-sabotage. And we all, in some way, shape, or form, we self-sabotage. And it could be so subtle where it's like, hey, I have this amazing idea. And then immediately that voice in the back of your head says, but can I do this?
Yeah.
That's immediately is the self-sabotage. And for me, like, one of the biggest thing really was body image. Like, I struggled. And and I think looking back at my life, I honestly don't understand how this came to be, where at the age of 10, I was struggling to look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Still to this day, I don't get it. It's not like I was wildly impacted by, social media. It wasn't that big when I was 10. Like, I feel like it's gotten a lot bigger, like within the last few years, but I can't understand it. And it lasted for 10 years, like until I was 20. And for me, that was the biggest thing, that it just was a sabotage. I didn't think that I was capable of doing anything. And it showed in school, because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I wasn't smart enough, like school smart. Like it was a lot harder for me. So I just naturally sabotage myself in so many different ways. And that was my mindset, was that I couldn't do things.
Yeah, it's so hard to start overcoming that. And, I mean, I don't know, do you still face any sort of fears or anything similar to that now with where you're at?
Absolutely. The best way that I can describe it is, and it's funny because being in this position of being a coach, I struggle with, should I be publicizing that? Sometimes I still struggle with self-doubt, but truthfully, that's just authenticity. And you know what? I think if you don't experience that, like, you're kind of lying to yourself. Like, it happens, and it's okay that it happens. And for me, what I think the biggest difference is, it doesn't last as long as it used to.
Okay.
That's what I noticed. Whereas, it could last previously days or years. Whereas now it actually will only last like 30 minutes, let's say, for example. Like, it's just because I immediately go back to reminding myself all that I've done and all that I can help people with. And that immediately brings me back to, no, I can do this. And it changes the mindset.
It's just like an immediate boost of inspiration. Like, you're able just to kind of kick yourself out of that rut, because you've been there before, right? I mean, in a way.
And it's a very conscious process. And that's what I find when you're really trying to change anything, to change any habit, it has to be you have to be so conscious of it. When you are, when the negative self-talk comes in out loud, you might actually need to say, no, wait a second, and replace it. And it has to be conscious in order for you to just create this new habit.
Agreed. Yeah, it's insane, the habits that we've like implanted in ourselves over our lifetimes so far. Just the subconscious latches onto everything. It's like a sponge. It just latches onto all of these things that we put into ourselves, the emotions, the way that we feel, the way that we think, and we don't realize how much of that controls our day all the time. And it's in the background. It's running, without us our knowledge of it half the time. And so I think it's very vital, like you said, to be very conscious of that. And when those feelings and those emotions kick in, you're able to actually look at them and look inward in yourself and go, okay, I understand this now, and this is what I have to do to get past it.
Absolutely. I think we forget, well, you know what? It's not even forgetting, because a lot of people just didn't understand this thinking and the mind, and just understanding how powerful it is and how much we are in control at all times.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of your daily routines? I mean, do you do anything to help increase your consciousness every day?
This is so bad, but I actually don't have routines.
Nothing, no routines, really.
And I'm dead serious. And that's funny enough. That's one of the things that I recognize that I need to implement more, having routines. So yeah, I really don't have a routine.
Okay.
And that's probably not a regular thing that most people say. That is just me being real.
I mean, everybody has a different approach to it. I mean, I guess routine aside, whether you do it at a certain time or whatever, is there anything that you do, maybe daily, just to kind of help with your consciousness at all?
I definitely am very, like, the books that I always am reading, they're not fun books. They are always in the realm of personal development and exactly what I need to be reading at the time. I recently figured out my way of how I can meditate, and I'm actually really excited because I know I'm going to really implement that. And like I said, on Monday, I was in a 3-hour meditation, and my mind was just blown at what came through, and it was just really powerful. So meditation is definitely, and then just, it's exercise. Like, I do things for myself because I know I need to. One of the biggest things that I know about myself is that on a weekly basis, I actually need my alone time. Like, me, nobody else. And if I don't get that, I find myself completely out of balance because I just need that space to be and not to do anything. And it's okay. But it's knowing what works for yourself and honoring it.
Diving a little deeper into that, what was, so I mean, you say you didn't have any routines, but did you have any sort of routine when you were writing your book? I mean, what was that process like?
It was an interesting process. So I do still work full time, and on my commutes to work, I get into, I guess you could say, a meditative state. I don't know what
Okay.
to call it,
Yeah.
but I kind of zone out and I would write a lot on my commutes to work. I would just on my phone, I would probably write like a full chapter or different ideas for different chapters. But for me, it was really important when I was writing my book that whenever I felt like there was a writer's block, I would just put my laptop away and just put it aside and just forget it because nothing good was going to come from me trying to force and pull something. So, if it required me just reading something different or, watching something inspirational, like it, you know what I mean? Or just completely putting it away. I was only writing when I felt really inspired and when it was going to come out naturally.
I read this book called The War of Art. Have you ever read that book?
No.
No. Okay. It's funny. There's a quote in there and it's the author. He asks this guy, and I can't remember exactly who it is, but he says, do you write on a routine every day, or do you only write when you're struck by inspiration? And he goes, well, I write only when I'm struck by inspiration, but fortunately it finds me every day at 9 o'clock in the morning sharp. And I thought that was a pretty cool way to think about it. And I guess, just from my personal experience now that I'm trying to implement somewhat of a morning routine, and I'm not perfect at it yet, but I'm getting there. But what I find is I'll meditate first, and then immediately after I'll go into writing. And it starts to just kind of start flowing, and I think the more consistently that I do that, the better I get at it, right? Because the first few times I did, it was hard. I didn't really get too into it. But as I consistently started going about it and consistently started meditating, it was like ideas would just start flowing through me. And it wasn't really like it was me writing. It was just coming out,
Totally resonate with that. And I think that's, I love that. Yeah. Like I get, and I guess that works is just how I end up doing that on a regular basis is on my commutes to work where they just come out.
Yeah. In some way, in shape or form, you kind of did have that routine in place, even though you didn't really know it to be able to write with your inspiration. That's pretty cool. Well, at this point, if you could only leave one piece of advice to an up and coming entrepreneur or somebody who wants to write a book, what would it be?
So I feel like for an author, that's one message. For an entrepreneur, that's a different message.
I guess
so very quick, I think for an entrepreneur, what I've realized and actually what I heard, and I believe I was watching a video at the very beginning of this year, and it was Gary Vaynerchuk.
Mm-hmm.
And in the video, it was like 2 seconds where he literally just said, try everything. And that really resonated with me. And it was something that I've kept with me ever since I heard it. So anytime an idea comes, I'm trying it and I'm just going with it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. It's totally okay. But try everything is one of the biggest things. And for an author, one thing that I didn't do that I wish I did was just really get clear on who your audience is. Like who's going to be reading your book? Who do you want to read your book? Who's it going to help? And it will allow you in that writing process. Just be more clear.
Definitely. Being specific with your audience and with your goals and your intentions really makes such a big difference when you go about on your path, on your journey.
Exactly. And although we want to help everyone, because I know that's, it's like, well, who do you want to help? People, everybody. And it's like, granted, that is very fair.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can't, I don't want to say can't as a limitation. It's more of, it's a lot easier if you can just focus and you can make more impact and create more change in the small little pool of individuals, and then it will have a ripple effect. But it's that focus that you can accomplish so much more with who you're trying to serve.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And we talked a little bit about this before we actually started recording here, but what is your kind of next path, or your next move journey that you're embarking on?
Yeah, it's one that actually gets me so excited. So I mean, I have a book under my belt. I have been speaking for the last 5 years, which is really how my journey started. And I also am a coach. Like, I have my own program. I've turned my book into an online program that I can monetize on. So I have my own personal brand. I know that I've built a really great organic following, and so I'm really excited because a lot of people are always asking me, "How did you write your book?
Yeah.
What do I have to do? How do I, become an influencer?" And all of these things. And I just realized that that's what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to help people get these things done, because there's so many, especially women who are, for example, a lot of the women that I work with are in their 50s and they're twice my age, but it's because they're now coming to a point in their life where they're kind of reflecting.
Yeah.
And they're recognizing that there's more that they could be doing, and they have all these aspirations that they haven't followed through on. And seeing that I've done it in 25 years, I can help them accomplish it. I can help everybody do these things because I've done it myself, and that's really all it takes.
That's all it takes. And that's awesome. And it all just started with one single thought, and you putting that thought into action. You writing this book, you go into public speaking, you did your thing, and all of a sudden just more opportunities start pouring in for you to continue your work in different ways that you didn't even expect, I would imagine, right?
Oh, absolutely. To be honest, like, I'm like, how did I get here? I mean, obviously, it's just small little things that end up aligning the way they're supposed to, but it's just, a few months ago, I had this moment where, and I actually did a YouTube video on it. And I actually was like, how did I accomplish all of this stuff in 25 years? Like, I think I just amaze myself. And I feel like, at the end of the day, like, I'm my own inspiration. I think we should all be our own inspiration. And, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's just, when something speaks and calls you and it's right, it's just taking action on it. And yes, there's going to be fear through everything, but every single day we're actually facing our fears, because every single day we never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Every single day is an unknown. You know what I mean? So we're always fearless in that own way. And it's just bring that fearlessness towards whatever you want to do. And, just recognizing that there is no limitations. None whatsoever. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things. My passion is just helping people see that there's this box that they've put themselves in, and like one by one, just taking everybody out of the box.
Yeah, letting them break down the walls and see what's on the outside and explore and adventure and just be the best person they can be. I always try to tell myself every day, just be 1% better today. Just be 1% better today. And by doing that, you end up adding so much more value to your life and to the lives of those people around you. So
absolutely. And it might not happen right away. You might not see that impact on other people right away, but believe me, down the road, if you just stay consistent with everything that you do and every single post that you post, it will have a ripple effect. Like, you'll see it in the long run. And that's, the beauty of just, that consistency. It'll end up paying off. It'll end up being exactly what you want. So yeah.
Definitely. Well, that was awesome. I could talk all day to you, it seems like, but and maybe we'll do another interview down in the future after our paths meet up again. So for now, if you guys want to follow Ashley, you can follow her at Ashley Ann Pereira on Instagram, or she has a website where you could buy her book as well at the same thing, right? AshleyAnnPereira.com.
Exact same.
Nice and simple, nice and easy. I appreciate you guys watching. Ashley, thank you so much for talking, and let's go inspire the world.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. And everybody, make sure you subscribe to this channel because it's going to be wicked.
Awesome. Take care, Ashley. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.